Rome began as a small settlement along the Tiber River in central Italy. This area was ideal because it had fertile land and easy access to the sea for trade. The legend says Rome was founded by twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, raised by a she-wolf. After an argument, Romulus killed Remus and became the first king, giving his name to the city. Rome's early days were shaped by its contact with neighboring cultures, like the Etruscans and Greeks. These groups had more advanced knowledge, especially in art and engineering. The Etruscans, in particular, greatly influenced Roman society, introducing arches in architecture. Under their influence, Rome grew from a collection of huts to a structured city. As Rome expanded, it gradually transitioned from a monarchy to a republic around 509 BCE. The last king, Tarquin the Proud, was overthrown due to his tyrannical rule. The people, tired of being ruled by a single figure, established a new government. This new structure allowed elected officials to make decisions rather than leaving power in the hands of one. This transition to a republic was a significant step toward creating a more balanced government. The Romans developed a system with two consuls elected each year who had the power to govern. To prevent too much power in any one place, consuls had equal authority and could veto each other. This system aimed to ensure a fair form of governance for all. The Roman Republic was not a democracy as we know it today, but it was a unique form of government for its time. The Senate was an essential part of this system, made up of powerful and wealthy citizens. Senators served for life, and they advised the consuls on important matters. Over time, the Senate gained significant influence in guiding Rome's decisions. However, the Republic was not without its conflicts and issues. Rome had two main social classes, the patricians and the plebeians. Patricians were wealthy landowners and held most political power, while plebeians were commoners with limited rights. The plebeians struggled for greater equality, leading to social tensions within the Republic. These tensions led to a series of conflicts called the Conflict of the Orders, where plebeians fought for more rights. Over time, they won the right to elect their representatives, called tribunes, who could veto decisions harming plebeians. This change helped balance power, allowing commoners a voice in Roman politics. As Rome developed internally, it also began expanding its territory. The Republic aimed to protect itself by conquering neighboring regions. This expansion led to a series of wars, especially against powerful rivals like Carthage. Carthage was a wealthy city-state in North Africa, and it controlled much of the Western Mediterranean. The wars between Rome and Carthage are known as the Punic Wars. These wars were long and brutal, lasting over a century in total. The First Punic War began over control of Sicily, an island important for trade. Rome won, but the victory came at a high cost, as both sides suffered heavy losses. The Second Punic War was perhaps the most famous, mainly because of the Carthaginian general Hannibal. Hannibal was a brilliant strategist who led his army, including war elephants, across the Alps to invade Italy. His campaign shocked Rome, but despite many victories, he was unable to capture the city. Rome eventually defeated Hannibal and forced Carthage into submission. This victory made Rome the dominant power in the Western Mediterranean. After a Third Punic War, Rome completely destroyed Carthage, ending its threat forever. The Punic Wars marked a turning point, as Rome shifted from a regional power to a Mediterranean empire. With Carthage defeated, Rome continued to expand across Europe, North Africa, and Asia Minor. Roman armies were highly disciplined and well organized, which helped them succeed. The Republic's strength was built on the loyalty of its soldiers, who believed in Rome's cause and fought for glory and rewards. However, Rome's expansion brought new challenges, including managing distant provinces and diverse cultures. Wealth from conquered lands flowed into Rome, making the rich even richer. This increased the gap between the wealthy elite and the common people, leading to social issues and unrest. The concentration of wealth and land among a few families led to problems for small farmers. Many farmers, unable to compete, lost their land and moved to the cities. This migration created a large, restless population of unemployed citizens. These people often relied on government handouts, causing economic strain. As the Republic expanded, generals gained more power and loyalty from their troops than the Senate did. Ambitious generals, such as Julius Caesar, saw opportunities to increase their influence. Caesar, a skilled leader and politician, formed an alliance with Pompey and Crassus, known as the First Triumvirate. The First Triumvirate allowed Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus to control much of Rome's political and military power. Caesar used this position to lead successful campaigns in Gaul, greatly expanding Roman territory. His victories made him popular with the people, but caused concern among his rivals in Rome. Eventually, the alliance among the three leaders broke down, leading to a power struggle. Caesar crossed the Rubicon River with his army, defying the Senate's orders. This act marked the beginning of a civil war between Caesar and Pompey. Caesar emerged victorious, and he gained control over Rome. After the Civil War, Caesar was named dictator, a title traditionally meant for emergencies. However, Caesar held this power longer than usual, alarming some senators. His reforms were popular with the people, but some saw him as a threat to the Republic. In 44 BCE, a group of senators assassinated Caesar, hoping to restore the Republic. Caesar's assassination plunged Rome into chaos, leading to another series of civil wars. His death left a power vacuum, with various leaders vying for control. Eventually, Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, and his ally, Mark Antony, defeated their opponents. But tensions rose between Octavian and Antony as they each sought dominance. Octavian and Antony's conflict culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Octavian's forces defeated Antony and Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, ending the civil wars. Octavian emerged as Rome's undisputed leader, marking the end of the Republic and the beginning of the Empire. In 27 BCE, Octavian took the title Augustus, becoming Rome's first emperor. Although he maintained the outward appearance of the Republic, Augustus held absolute power. His reign began a period known as the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, which brought stability and prosperity to the empire for the next 200 years. The Pax Romana allowed Rome to flourish, with advancements in architecture, law, and culture. Augustus encouraged building projects, creating structures like the Forum and the Pantheon. He also reformed the tax system and established a professional army, laying the foundation for a stable empire. As Augustus ruled, he worked hard to ensure stability in Rome and its provinces. He avoided appearing too powerful, even though he controlled the military and held supreme authority. Augustus presented himself as a servant of Rome, respecting traditions and laws. This approach gained him respect, and he became known as a wise and fair leader. During the Pax Romana, trade flourished, and Rome became wealthier. Goods traveled from the farthest corners of the empire, from Spain to Syria, and from Britain to Egypt. Roads built by Roman soldiers connected these regions, making travel easier. This network of roads and sea routes allowed ideas, goods, and cultures to mix. Rome's law system was a significant part of its legacy, creating rules that would influence societies for centuries. Roman law promoted justice and applied to all citizens, regardless of wealth or status. Courts, judges, and a complex legal code guided how laws were applied. This system aimed to keep society fair and orderly. Roman culture thrived during this time, with literature, philosophy, and art flourishing. Writers like Virgil and Ovid produced works that celebrated Rome's greatness and values. Philosophers pondered the nature of life and morality, inspired by Greek thinkers. Art, including statues and mosaics, became highly detailed, showing scenes from daily life and mythology. Architecture was another important aspect of Roman culture. Using concrete and arches, the Romans built impressive structures, many of which still stand today. The Colosseum, for example, was a grand amphitheater where people gathered to watch gladiator games. Temples, baths, and theaters also reflected Rome's wealth and architectural skill. The army was essential to maintaining the vast Roman Empire. Soldiers were disciplined and loyal, serving for years in distant lands. They protected the borders, built forts, and kept peace in conquered areas. Roman legions were highly trained, allowing them to conquer and control vast regions despite challenges. Rome's empire was diverse, with people of various cultures, languages, and religions. The Romans generally allowed conquered peoples to keep their customs, as long as they obeyed Roman laws and paid taxes. This tolerance helped to reduce rebellion and allowed different cultures to coexist under Roman rule. However, the empire faced challenges as it expanded, especially along its borders. In places like Germany and the Middle East, local tribes resisted Roman control. The military had to defend these frontiers constantly, which was costly and sometimes led to conflicts. This strain would later contribute to Rome's struggles. Emperors following Augustus varied in their effectiveness and popularity. Some, like Tiberius, continued Augustus's policies and kept the empire stable. Others, like Caligula and Nero, were known for their cruelty and excesses. Nero, for example, was accused of neglecting Rome's needs and spending lavishly, which led to public discontent. The empire experienced a period of turmoil with many emperors in quick succession. This instability made it difficult to govern effectively, as power struggles distracted from governing. Eventually, leaders like Vespasian and his son Titus brought stability back to the empire, restoring faith in the leadership. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE was a tragic event during this time. The cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum were buried under ash, preserving buildings and artifacts. This disaster shocked the empire, but the preserved sites later provided insights into Roman daily life. Archaeologists discovered homes, tools, and art frozen in time. Rome also saw growth in religion during this period. The traditional Roman gods, like Jupiter and Mars, were central to life and worship. Temples were built in their honor, and religious ceremonies were held to seek favor from the gods. Emperors often participated in religious events, linking their rule to divine support. However, new religions began to spread within the empire. One of the most significant was Christianity, which started as a small movement in Judea. Jesus of Nazareth, a preacher, taught about love, forgiveness, and faith. His followers, known as Christians, believed he was the Messiah. The message spread, especially among the poor and marginalized. The early Christians faced persecution because their beliefs differed from Roman traditions. They refused to worship the emperor as a god, which was seen as a threat to Roman unity. Some Christians were arrested or killed for their faith, but the religion continued to grow. The courage of martyrs inspired others to convert. By the 4th century, Christianity had become widespread in the empire. Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity marked a turning point. He issued the Edict of Milan, granting religious tolerance, which allowed Christians to worship freely. This decision greatly influenced Rome, and Christianity eventually became the state religion. The empire's problems continued to grow, especially in the later years. Economic difficulties emerged as the costs of maintaining the empire increased. Heavy taxes burdened citizens, and inflation reduced the value of money. Wealthy landowners gained more power, while small farmers struggled, deepening social divisions. Meanwhile, the empire faced constant threats from external groups. Germanic tribes, like the Goths and Vandals, began moving into Roman lands. These groups sought new homes and resources as they faced pressure from other tribes. Rome's military found it challenging to defend the vast borders from these incursions. Rome was eventually divided into eastern and western halves to improve management. Emperor Diocletian introduced reforms to strengthen the government and military. He established the Tetrarchy, where 4 leaders shared power. This system aimed to provide better control, but it also created rivalries that weakened unity. Constantine, after winning control, reunited the empire for a time and moved the capital to Byzantium, later called Constantinople. This shift reflected the growing importance of the eastern provinces. The East was wealthier and more stable, while the West struggled with invasions and economic issues. As the Western Roman Empire weakened, it relied more on foreign soldiers, called mercenaries, to defend its borders. These mercenaries were often less loyal to Rome and sometimes turned against it. Corruption and mismanagement made it harder to respond effectively to the challenges facing the empire. In 410 CE, the Visigoths, led by King Alaric, sacked Rome, shocking the ancient world. This event symbolized the decline of Rome's power. Although the city recovered temporarily, the empire was clearly struggling. The loss of Rome's influence marked the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire. The final blow came in 476 CE, when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by a Germanic leader named Odoacer. This event is often considered the official end of the Western Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire, continued for nearly 1,000 more years. The fall of the Western Roman Empire marked the start of the Middle Ages in Europe. Despite its decline, Rome's influence lived on through its culture, law, and language. Latin became the foundation for many European languages, and Roman laws inspired legal systems across the continent. Roman achievements in engineering and architecture left a lasting legacy. Roads, aqueducts, and buildings built by the Romans influenced later civilizations. The Roman Empire may have fallen, but its ideas and structures remained, shaping the development of Europe and beyond for centuries. In the centuries after the fall, scholars and leaders looked back to Rome for inspiration. The idea of a united Europe, guided by common laws and values, was influenced by memories of Rome's unity. Even the Roman Catholic Church, with its center in Rome, carried forward aspects of Roman culture and organization. The Byzantine Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, preserved many aspects of Roman culture. The Byzantines saw themselves as Romans, and they continued the traditions of the empire. Art, law, and religion thrived in Byzantium, keeping the legacy of Rome alive in the Eastern Mediterranean. Roman history remains a vital part of understanding Western civilization. Its achievements in government, engineering, and culture influenced societies worldwide. From the Republic's concept of shared power to the empire's remarkable architecture, Rome's legacy is visible in modern cities and institutions. Rome's story is one of ambition, innovation, and resilience. It faced countless challenges, from internal conflicts to foreign invasions, yet left a powerful legacy. By studying Rome, we gain insights into the rise and fall of civilizations and the lasting impact of cultural achievements. The story of Rome's beginning is filled with legends that shaped its early identity. According to the tale, Romulus and Remus, twins abandoned as babies, were saved by a she-wolf. They grew up strong, guided by their unusual upbringing. When they decided to build a city, rivalry led Romulus to kill Remus, marking the city's birth with blood. Rome's early kings brought order and organization, but some ruled harshly. Each king contributed something unique, like laws or public works. King Numa introduced religious ceremonies, hoping to bring peace and respect. Tullus Hostilius and Ancus Marcius expanded Rome's lands and influence, setting the stage for Rome's rise. The last king, Tarquin the Proud, ruled with cruelty and arrogance. His tyranny pushed the people to rebel as they grew tired of his disregard for their rights. In 509 BCE, they overthrew him, ending the monarchy. This shift marked the beginning of the Roman Republic, where power was shared among elected officials. The Republic structure aimed to prevent one person from having too much power. Two consuls, elected each year, shared leadership and could veto each other's decisions. This system encouraged cooperation and limited absolute control. Romans believed this would keep their government fair and balanced, protecting their freedom. The Senate was the most powerful part of the Republic, made up of influential citizens. Senators served for life and advised consuls on important issues. They debated on laws, finances, and foreign policies, shaping Rome's future. The Senate's power grew over time, and many Romans trusted it to protect their interests. Life in the Republic was not easy for everyone, as Rome's society was divided. Patricians or nobles controlled most political power, while plebeians, the common people, had limited rights. This inequality led to tension and protests as plebeians demanded a voice in the government. Over time, they gained some rights. To ease tensions, the plebeians won the right to elect officials called tribunes. Tribunes had the power to veto unfair laws, protecting plebeians from abuse. This new role helped balance power between the social classes. The conflict of the orders, as this struggle was called, gradually improved equality in Rome. Rome's military was crucial in its rise to power, as it allowed expansion and protection. Every Roman male citizen was expected to serve when needed, training to fight in organized groups called legions. Soldiers were disciplined and loyal, believing in Rome's greatness. The army's strength made it a fearsome force. As Rome grew, its soldiers conquered lands and brought wealth back to the city. The victories increased Rome's influence and allowed for new trade opportunities. Conquered peoples sometimes joined Rome's army, hoping for a better life. This expansion gave Rome resources and labor, helping it grow even stronger. Rome's ambitions led to a rivalry with Carthage, a powerful city-state in North Africa. Carthage controlled trade in the Western Mediterranean, and Rome wanted a share. The two cities clashed in the Punic Wars, a series of brutal conflicts that tested their strength. These wars changed the Mediterranean forever. The First Punic War began over control of Sicily, a valuable island. Rome built a strong navy, learning to fight at sea to challenge Carthage. After years of struggle, Rome emerged victorious, gaining Sicily as its first province. This win marked Rome's rise as a naval power and challenged Carthage's dominance. The Second Punic War brought one of Rome's greatest enemies, Hannibal, a brilliant Carthaginian general. Hannibal led his troops and war elephants over the Alps, a daring move to surprise Rome. He won many battles, threatening Rome's power. Despite his success, he could not capture Rome, and his campaign ended in failure. In the end, Rome defeated Carthage again, forcing harsh terms upon them. Carthage's power was broken, and it became a weaker state under Roman watch. The rivalry ended with the Third Punic War when Rome destroyed Carthage completely. The city was burned, and its people were enslaved, marking Rome's absolute victory. With Carthage gone, Rome expanded across the Mediterranean, taking control of Greece, Asia Minor, and Egypt. Each conquest brought new cultures, ideas, and wealth into the Roman world. Greek philosophy, art, and literature deeply influenced Roman culture. Romans admired Greek achievements and blended them into their own society. As Rome's wealth grew, so did its problems. Rich landowners gained more land and power, while small farmers lost their lands. The gap between rich and poor grew, leading to social tensions. Unemployed citizens flooded into Rome, seeking work, creating a restless and dependent urban population. Political reformers like the Gracchus brothers tried to address these issues. Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus proposed land reforms to help the poor, hoping to restore balance. Their ideas angered the wealthy, who saw them as a threat. Both brothers were killed, showing the risks of challenging Rome's powerful elite. The Republic's troubles deepened as generals became more influential, winning loyalty from their soldiers. These generals, like Marius and Sulla, used their armies to gain power, leading to civil wars. The idea of loyalty shifted from the state to individual leaders, weakening the unity that had once held Rome together. Julius Caesar was one of these ambitious generals, rising through successful campaigns in Gaul. His victories made him popular among the people, but caused fear among his rivals. When the Senate ordered him to disband his army, he crossed the Rubicon River, igniting a civil war. This act marked a turning point in Rome's history. Caesar defeated his enemies and became the ruler of Rome, a position that alarmed many. Though he was popular and enacted reforms, some feared he aimed to be king. In 44 BCE, a group of senators assassinated him, hoping to save the Republic. Instead, his death led to more chaos and another series of wars. The power struggles after Caesar's death eventually brought Octavian, his adopted heir, to power. Octavian defeated his rivals, including Mark Antony and Cleopatra, securing his rule. In 27 BCE, he took the title Augustus, becoming Rome's first emperor. With him, the Republic ended, and the Roman Empire began. Augustus ruled with caution, avoiding the image of a dictator. He respected traditions and laws, presenting himself as Rome's guardian. His policies restored peace and stability, bringing prosperity to the empire. This era, known as the Pax Romana, allowed Rome to flourish and set a model for future emperors. Under Augustus, Rome's empire was vast and diverse. Roman law was applied to unify different cultures, promoting fairness and order. Roads and trade routes connected distant provinces, allowing goods, ideas, and customs to travel. Roman architecture, language, and governance left lasting marks on each region. As emperors succeeded Augustus, they varied in their effectiveness. Some, like Tiberius and Claudius, continued Augustus's policies, while others, like Caligula and Nero, ruled poorly. Nero, known for his excesses, faced anger from the people. His reign ended in revolt, leading to a period of instability. The Flavian emperors, including Vespasian and his son Titus, restored order after Nero. They strengthened the army and rebuilt Rome after the Great Fire. The Flavians were popular for their public works, including the construction of the Colosseum, a massive arena where Romans gathered for entertainment. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE was a tragic event, burying Pompeii and Herculaneum. These cities were preserved under ash, capturing daily Roman life in detail. Archaeologists later uncovered homes, shops, and art, providing a unique glimpse into Roman society and the lives of ordinary people. Religion was central to Roman life, with temples and rituals honoring many gods. Festivals, sacrifices, and ceremonies were held to gain the gods' favor. Emperors often led these rituals, linking their rule to divine will. Romans believed their gods protected the city and watched over its people's welfare. Christianity emerged during this time, offering a different spiritual path. It taught love, forgiveness, and a personal relationship with God, attracting many followers. Despite facing persecution for their beliefs, Christians remained devoted. Their faith grew, especially among the poor, who found hope in its message. Emperor Constantine's acceptance of Christianity in the 4th century changed the empire profoundly. By granting religious freedom, he allowed Christians to worship openly. Later, Christianity became the state religion, reshaping Roman culture and values. This shift helped spread Christianity, making it one of the world's major religions. Economic challenges weakened the empire, as heavy taxes and inflation affected everyone. Small farmers suffered, while wealthy landowners grew richer. As the empire relied on mercenaries to defend its borders, loyalty to Rome faded. These problems created an unstable society, vulnerable to outside threats. Germanic tribes like the Goths and Vandals pressured Rome's borders, seeking land and resources. The empire struggled to defend its territories, facing invasions and attacks. The division of the empire into East and West was an attempt to manage these threats, but it created its own difficulties. In 410 CE, the Visigoths sacked Rome, shaking the empire's foundation. This event symbolized Rome's decline, showing that even the mighty city could fall. Despite temporary recoveries, the Western Roman Empire grew weaker, while the Eastern Empire, based in Constantinople, remained stronger. In 476 CE, the last Roman emperor in the West was overthrown, marking the end of the Western Roman Empire. This event is seen as the fall of Rome, though its legacy continued. The Eastern Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire, preserved Roman culture and ideas for centuries in the East. Following the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the city of Rome itself remained a significant cultural and religious center. The church grew in influence, preserving many aspects of Roman civilization, including Latin language, legal traditions, and philosophy. Monasteries and scholars kept ancient texts and knowledge alive, acting as bridges between the ancient world and medieval Europe. The Eastern Roman Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire, flourished for nearly 1,000 years after the fall of the West. With its capital at Constantinople, the Byzantines maintained Roman law and government structures, blending them with Greek culture. The Byzantine Empire protected Europe from Eastern invasions, serving as a barrier against powerful forces like the Persians and later the Arabs. Justinian I, one of the most famous Byzantine emperors, aimed to restore Rome's former glory. He reconquered parts of the Western territories and oversaw the creation of the Justinian Code, a collection of laws that influenced Europe's legal systems for centuries. His reign saw great achievements, but also faced challenges, like the devastating plague that weakened the empire's population. As the Byzantine Empire continued to evolve, it developed its own identity, influenced by Orthodox Christianity. Religious art and architecture, like the Hagia Sophia, became symbols of Byzantine culture. Icons, mosaics, and religious ceremonies distinguished the East from the Western Church, leading to religious differences that eventually caused the Great Schism. The Roman Catholic Church in the West and the Eastern Orthodox Church in the East developed separate traditions and practices. This division created two powerful branches of Christianity, each influencing their regions. The schism deepened political and cultural divides, shaping the history of Europe and the Mediterranean for centuries. In Western Europe, the legacy of Rome shaped the emerging kingdoms and empires. Latin remained the language of learning and the church, while Roman law and ideas about governance influenced kings and leaders. Feudalism, the dominant social system, was shaped partly by Roman concepts of land ownership and authority. Charlemagne, a Frankish king, sought to revive the Roman Empire's spirit, crowning himself Emperor of the Romans in 800 CE. His empire covered much of Western Europe, and he promoted learning and reform. Although his empire eventually divided, it set the foundation for the Holy Roman Empire, a loose federation of territories that carried the Roman name. The Holy Roman Empire aimed to recreate Rome's unity and greatness, but faced constant challenges from regional powers. While it never achieved the strength of ancient Rome, it influenced European politics and culture. Emperors and kings saw themselves as Rome's heirs, carrying its legacy forward in a changing world. Roman achievements in engineering and architecture also left a lasting impact on Europe. Roman roads, aqueducts, and bridges continued to be used long after the empire's fall, setting standards for infrastructure. The use of arches, domes, and concrete inspired medieval and Renaissance architects who saw Rome as a model for building strong, beautiful structures. The Renaissance, a period of renewed interest in ancient knowledge, revived Rome's legacy in art, science, and philosophy. Scholars studied Latin texts, rediscovering Roman ideas that had been forgotten. Artists like Michelangelo and architects like Brunelleschi looked to Roman ruins for inspiration, blending classical beauty with new techniques. Rome's influence also reached the Islamic world, where scholars preserved and expanded upon Roman science, medicine, and mathematics. Arab scholars translated Roman texts into Arabic, sharing this knowledge across the Middle East. Through these interactions, Roman ideas reached places far beyond its former borders, contributing to the global spread of knowledge. Roman law became a foundation for many European legal systems, emphasizing fairness and individual rights. Concepts like innocent until proven guilty and property rights originated in Roman law, forming the basis of modern legal principles. The Roman way of governance, though no longer a single empire, influenced how nations would be ruled. The idea of a republic, where citizens had a voice, reappeared during the Enlightenment in Europe. Philosophers and revolutionaries admired Rome's early republic, seeing it as a model of freedom and participation. This admiration inspired revolutions in France and America, where leaders sought to create governments that reflected Roman ideals of liberty and justice. Roman literature and philosophy also continued to inspire future generations. Works by writers like Cicero, Virgil, and Seneca provided timeless lessons on duty, courage, and ethics. Stoicism, a philosophy favored by many Romans, taught resilience and self-control, values that resonated through the ages and influenced thinkers and leaders. The Latin language spoken by the Romans became the foundation for Romance languages like Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. Even after Latin stopped being a spoken language, it remained the language of the church, science, and literature for centuries. Latin roots are still present in English and many other modern languages, showing Rome's linguistic legacy. Rome's influence on military organization continued through the centuries as well. Roman strategies, discipline, and training methods were studied by later armies, who admired Rome's effectiveness in warfare. The Roman legion, with its structure and tactics, became a model for many modern military forces seeking order and efficiency. The Roman calendar, with its 365 days and leap years, set a standard for timekeeping. Although it was modified slightly in later years, the Julian calendar established by Julius Caesar influenced the calendar we use today. The months and many holidays trace back to Roman customs, showing how deeply Rome shaped everyday life. In addition to these practical contributions, Rome's ideals of civic duty and responsibility left a lasting impact on Western values. Romans valued loyalty to the state, the rule of law, and the importance of public service. These principles inspired future societies to value justice, order, and a commitment to the greater good. As a civilization, Rome left behind both tangible and intangible legacies. Its monuments, literature, and ideas live on, admired and studied across the world. The rise and fall of Rome serve as a lesson in the possibilities and limits of power, reminding humanity of the complexities of governance and the importance of unity. Today, Rome's legacy can be seen in modern cities, laws, and governments. The achievements and mistakes of Rome offer insights into human nature, ambition, and the challenges of managing diverse societies. Through its successes and failures, Rome's story continues to inspire and teach, showing that its influence is as enduring as its ruins. Ancient Rome has had a huge impact on the modern world, shaping how we live, govern, build, and think. Roman ideas in law, government, architecture, language, and daily life still influence us today. People around the world, even if they do not realize it, experience parts of Roman culture in their routines. Rome's contributions have helped create the foundation of Western civilization. One of the greatest Roman impacts is in government and law. The concept of a republic, where people elect leaders, started in Rome and inspired many modern democracies. Countries like the United States looked to Rome when forming their own government. The idea of balancing power among leaders, like the consuls, influenced today's checks and balances system. Roman law introduced important principles that are still in use, like the belief that all people deserve fair treatment. The idea of innocent until proven guilty started in Roman courts and is now common in many countries. Roman legal codes were clear and well organized, creating a system that promoted fairness and justice. This has influenced how modern laws are written and followed. The Latin language, spoken by the Romans, became the basis for many European languages. French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian all come from Latin, which is why they are called Romance languages. Even English, which is not a Romance language, uses many Latin words. This spread of Latin roots has connected languages and made communication easier across cultures. Architecture from Rome inspired many styles and structures we see today. The Romans invented strong building techniques, like the use of arches, domes, and concrete. These innovations allowed them to create large, durable buildings. Modern architecture, especially in government buildings and monuments, often uses these designs to show strength and stability. Roman engineering achievements like roads and aqueducts made life easier and connected people over long distances. Roman roads were built to last, some even used today, and their design inspired modern road building. Aqueducts brought clean water to cities, and this idea of public water systems influenced how we build cities. The importance of clean water and infrastructure began with the Romans. Rome's contributions to philosophy and education shaped Western thought. Roman writers and philosophers, like Cicero and Seneca, discussed ideas about ethics, duty, and self-control. The philosophy of Stoicism, which encouraged resilience and calm in hard times, became popular. These ideas helped shape values like duty, courage, and personal growth in modern society. The Romans were also skilled organizers, creating rules for managing people, resources, and spaces efficiently. Their methods for handling cities, trade, and military became models for organization. The military discipline and structure of Roman legions influenced modern armies, teaching the value of training, loyalty, and teamwork in defense. Art and literature from Rome continue to inspire writers, artists, and musicians today. Romans loved drama, poetry, and storytelling, creating works that explored human emotion, history, and the gods. These forms of expression influenced the Renaissance and still inspire creative works today. The themes of love, honor, and tragedy in Roman stories feel timeless. Roman religion and festivals added richness to their culture, and some of their traditions influenced Christian practices. When Christianity became the empire's main religion, Roman customs mixed with Christian ones. Important celebrations like Easter and Christmas took on elements from Roman festivals. This mix helped shape religious practices that remain meaningful today. Roman calendars also influenced how we organize time. Julius Caesar reformed the calendar, creating a system with 365 days and a leap year. This Julian calendar was widely used and later became the basis for the Gregorian calendar, which we still use. The names of the months in English and many other languages come from Roman origins. Roman public services like baths, theaters, and forums showed their belief in accessible spaces for all citizens. These places encouraged social interaction and community life, inspiring modern public spaces like parks, museums, and libraries. Rome's idea that people should have places to gather, learn, and relax became an important part of urban planning. The idea of civic duty was strong in Roman society, teaching citizens to care about their community and laws. Romans valued public service, encouraging people to participate in politics and military life. This concept of active citizenship influenced later societies, especially in Europe and America, where citizens are encouraged to vote and serve the public good. Rome's impact on medicine and science also shaped modern practices. Roman doctors and scientists, like Galen, made advances in understanding the body and health. Although limited by the knowledge of their time, their ideas about hygiene, surgical tools, and anatomy helped lay the groundwork for medical science. Roman emphasis on public health inspired modern hospitals and health systems. The Roman Empire's vast trade network connected many different cultures and encouraged the exchange of goods and ideas. This trade brought spices, silk, and other luxury items to Rome, as well as knowledge from other parts of the world. Modern global trade follows a similar model where goods and ideas flow freely across countries, enriching cultures. Education in Rome focused on rhetoric, literature, and practical skills, setting a model for Western education. Wealthy Roman boys studied Greek and Latin, learned about history, and practiced public speaking. This approach influenced the classical education system used in Europe for centuries, emphasizing well-rounded learning and communication skills. Finally, the fall of Rome taught valuable lessons about power, leadership, and unity. Historians have studied why Rome declined, learning about the dangers of corruption, economic problems, and military challenges. These lessons help modern societies understand the importance of strong institutions, fair laws, and responsible leadership. Rome's influence continues to shape the modern world, from government and law to architecture, language, and values. This ancient civilization set many foundations that still support our daily lives and ideals. The Romans showed how innovation, organization, and a sense of duty can leave a lasting legacy. Through their achievements and struggles, Rome's spirit lives on in modern civilization.